Hey guys, how you going? Hope you're all doing very well. This evening I'm going to be doing another movie review for you all. This movie is a horror film from Spain, Spanish language English subs, released in the year 2022, directed by Raúl Sarello and Fernando González Gomez, and this film is called The Passenger. So The Passenger is about this man who is being paid to transport a woman and her child across the country to their destination, and so it seems like a straightforward thing, but unfortunately they pick up someone who's injured on the side of the road, and this is the start of their nightmare because it appears that this injured individual is actually infected with something. So their night has gone from bad to worse, and what started off as a reasonably simple journey has turned into a fight for survival. So whether or not they live to tell the tale or something, you're going to have to find out for yourself, because that's as far as I am going with my synopsis. Now my thoughts on The Passenger. It's been a while since I've reviewed a movie from Spain, especially a Spanish horror film, so for that I was actually looking forward to seeing this. This was a movie where I saw the trailer, I thought it looked very enticing, and it had a lot of ingredients to make a really good recipe and a very tasty sort of treat. So after watching this film, I will say that there is a really good movie in here, but unfortunately the directors don't really utilise the full potential that they had at their disposal. And whether or not that was budget constraints or in fact it's just completely oblivious to what the potential was, I'm not sure, but I felt as though this movie wasn't as rewarding as I really wanted it to be, and I was really disappointed by the end result, which I'll go into the negatives a little bit later. But what I liked about the film is that the setting and the start of the movie really promises something that's going to be a lot of fun, a very entertaining movie. It's a creature feature sort of body horror movie that I thought was actually going to go from bigger to better places. So at the start of the movie you have a really good central character who's driving this van, and I thought the dialogue and interactions between the passengers and the driver were actually really well done. It had a quirky style to it, it had a very unique style, and so these directors set off a platform that is very enticing, and it makes you want to watch where this movie is actually going to go. And unfortunately the destination isn't quite as good as the journey, but I thought as though it held my interest for the majority of this movie. So the overall cinematography, a very vast landscape, so already you've got a sense of isolation, and that isolation does bring vulnerability, and so I thought that was actually really well done, and it's setting up for something. So the cinematography, very vibrant colouring. It's a movie that's not taking itself seriously. It's actually billed as a horror sort of comedy. I thought some of the humour worked here and there, but as I said, the interactions, I thought, because they were quirky, they were very interesting. So the dialogue is actually there. I thought these characters were actually fairly well fleshed out in a way that it wasn't trying to give you sympathetic qualities, but just give you qualities that maintain your interest while the horror set pieces aren't taking place. And so it does take a skill to do that, and I definitely feel as though The Passenger achieves this. So there are some moments, especially at night, that are actually quite creepy. And there was a soundtrack that again was very quirky. So it's a different style of film, and if you like these types of movies, you're definitely going to get something out of The Passenger, because as I said, it promises something that's going to be a lot of fun. But unfortunately this is the biggest issue with the movie, is that it promises a lot of fun but it never really gets there. I thought as though there was a lot of ability to actually make this movie unforgettable, but it just goes through the motions. It's not quite sure how it wants to actually portray a really fun ride, and so in the end I felt as though it was playing within itself, and it never really branched out, and I never felt as though the movie that I wanted it to be was ever there. So you have this horror set piece. I thought the makeup was actually very good in the horror, but unfortunately it's just not that scary. I thought as though it wasn't that suspenseful, and the anticipation to really bad things happening, yes, the overall intrigue was there, but the intrigue is never capitalised upon, and so the whole film just feels as though it's not that great. It's not a terrible movie, it's not the worst movie I've ever seen, but I felt as though the production, the script, the characters, the overall anticipation, I thought as though it deserved a better payoff, because the payoff just doesn't know how to be the type of movie that it wants to be. And what it wants to be is entertaining. I thought as though it would have been better if it was a lot more gory, over the top gore. I actually thought as though it would have capped off what was that different style of movie, but unfortunately it just doesn't quite get to anywhere that I thought as though it was satisfactory. I thought by the time the movie finished, I thought, alright, well, there was a movie there that just didn't quite get out of its shell, and unfortunately become a really big disappointment. And so I really wanted to love this movie. There are likeable qualities to it, but unfortunately it just doesn't have the confidence to really smash through and actually take a chance. And if a movie takes a chance, you're either going to succeed or not, but it's better to take that chance as opposed to actually staying within yourself and really getting a bit of stage fright and not trying to actually take that risk for a very successful film. And so if it realised what it had, I thought this would have been a much better experience. It's not that gory, it's not that scary, and unfortunately it's not that great. And so overall for The Passenger, I'm going to give this one 2 stars. Go out there and see if there's nothing else to watch, but don't get your hopes up for anything brilliant. Alright guys, that's it for my review. I hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later. Bye.